Doing a chapter breakdown stream in my cold basement. I really got to remember to turn the heat on down here before I do these. One day I will. It's actually starting to warm up a little bit. It is now, it's nearly 20 degrees outside. It's almost 20 degrees. It's just 19 degrees right now, but it might be a nice balmy 20 degrees by the end of the stream today. Yeah, go outside, gonna mow the grass, gonna maybe suntan a little bit, you know, just go for a nice walk in the 20-degree temperatures. I've walked in worse. I've walked in blizzards before, you know. I live in Pennsylvania, so that's the way the weather is. How's everybody doing? Welcome in. Come on, everybody. Come on in. Come on in. Hope everyone's having a very lovely Sunday morning, or Sunday afternoon, or Sunday evening, or Monday morning, or wherever you're at in the world. How far back could you possibly be? Okay, I think it's still, yeah, I don't think there's anywhere in the world that's still Saturday, so, you know, it might be very early on a Sunday morning. Like, if you're in Hawaii or something, it might be like 7 a.m. right now or something like that. But other than that, I think we're good. I think we solved it. Zoro is the new Aizen of One Piece. Yes, we're going to go through the options for Zoro's plan. I'm actually going to make a video about Zoro's plan, but I need you guys to help me out with something on that, actually. So we're going to do that. Hello, my fellow Alt-Shift-X enjoyer. Yes, I watch Alt-Shift-X and his dastardly brother Alt-Swift-X as well. I've been enjoying Night of the Seven Kingdoms so far. So there's actually a new episode of that on tonight, so I'm really excited for that. And a new episode of Primal, too. So back-to-back, kind of. So Sundays are good for me for right now. There's some new, every now and then there'll be a drought where there won't be like a new show, and then like where my show that I watch will end. And so I know Night of the Seven Kingdoms, it's only going to be on for, I think, 6-episode season. It's not going to be a very long season. But hey, for the next at least 4 weeks, we're eating good. All right. There is no plan. No. Zoro canonically has come up with some plans. I don't know if they're all good plans. All right, there was one plan Zoro came up with that was absolutely a good plan. That was 100% a good plan. So we're going to go through these. Yes. Can't wait to see Zoro's flashback playing Reversi with Kozoboro. I've seen that. I've seen people say that we're going to get, you know, that Zoro flashback we were supposed to get in Wano? We're going to get it now in Elbaf, all right? Like Oda's maybe a few arcs behind, so like we're going to get Zoro's flashback in Elbaf. And then in the next arc, we're going to get Frankie. You know, Frankie was supposed to do stuff in Egghead, so now Frankie's going to do stuff in, like, Lodestar or some shit. And then when we finally get to Laugh Tale, that's when Usopp is going to do stuff. And then after the series is over, that's when Luffy's moment is going to happen. My goodness. Is Murphy in the chat? I don't know. She tends to lurk. I don't know. She might be. I don't know. Probably not. Let's see. But I've seen so many different possibilities on what Zoro could do in this scene. So, I mean, honestly, that was kind of like, this was very much a recap chapter. I mean, like, even as I was, like, looking through the spoilers and then reviewing it, I was very much like, okay, a lot of this stuff I've honestly already mentioned. I did a Elbaf recap video like a month prior, so I was basically just like, it feels like I'm just kind of making that video again. But, you know, we got a map where everything was located, so the map is really fun. We can look at that, and let's see. We know that, we learn that Road has a little brother, and his little brother is named Bjorn, and he's one of the kids that was kidnapped. So really, I think that was just the adventure hook to get, because there has to be multiple groups, right? Like, they all arrived in the Sun Realm together, but there's got to be some kind of mechanism in order for them to all split up and go off in different places, right? So the way that I'm seeing this is that Hiruden, Stanson, and Zoro went to go deal with Dory and Bragi attacking the village. So they're going to go deal with that. And Jarl is also there as well. So they're going to go try to deal with that situation. Road, as well as Goldberg and Gerd, ran off to go try to save the children, along with with Ripley and Oimo, as well as like some of the other moms from the village. Frankie, I forgot to mention Frankie in the video because like Frankie is like, where is Frankie at? On that entire map, I don't think Frankie was even shown. And it's like, yeah, he should be with Ripley's group, should be, but we didn't see him in that one little box. So, you know, we didn't see Brook in the last chapter either, but Jinbei at least mentioned where Brook was at. And, yeah, Frankie we got, like, no update on, but he should be with Ripley's group. Let me go through some of these super chats here. Gotta feel so good to say it again. Elbaf! Zoro has a plan, and he's going to just slice up everything until it can't be sliced anymore. That's not a bad plan. I mean, Dorian Bragi will probably die, but that's not a bad plan. That was basically Garp and Roger's plan, and it worked. I mean, Rox died, but it worked. What Toriko dish would you give a Straw Hat? Chopper seems like a bubble fruit. Luffy. Oh, Luffy would be Regal Mammoth, like the jewel meat steak. Absolutely. I've always wanted to try from Toriko. What was something from Toriko that I always thought was like really good? The ozone grass was always very interesting. And I also like garlic. You know, whenever I cook, I always use garlic. So the meteor garlic that just makes you roid it out like crazy. Like you take one bite of the garlic and you just turn into the Incredible Hulk. Like that would be kind of cool to put on some steak or something. You think Gunko has her abyss mark on her face and she was forced to take the mark like someone grabbed her face and that's why she wears bandages. So she has been covering her face as far back as we know since even before she was a member of the God's Steel. So the God's Steel is kind of like the entry-level position for the God's Knights. Even before that, when she was... Hold on a minute. Let me pull up the thing here. See, this is what I love about Alt-Shift-X's streams when he talks about Game of Thrones. I think he just has every single thing ever in Game of Thrones like ready to go, and he can queue it up at like any given moment. So it's like if he needs a picture of like, freaking I don't know, Euron Greyjoy, he could just pull up like 4 different images of Euron Greyjoy immediately. It's just like ready to go. So I need to get something like that. I need to have everything prepped and ready to go at any given time. But anyway, so we're looking here at the first time we get to see Gunko, which is here in chapter 1155. Thankfully, I got the encyclopedia up here in my head, and so I know what chapters usually characters show up in. I'm pretty good at that. That's kind of my job. All right, so this is the first time we get to see Gunko. This is 56 years prior, and this is when she was not a God's Knight. She was not a member of God's Steel. She was like Emu's like servant, like handmaiden, or whatever you want to call it, right? Rad Tekking, yeah, he's still dead. He's probably in hell or something. I don't know. He's going on a multiverse adventure. He's in like Hades or something right now. But yeah, so that's Gunko back then. So we even know back in those days she still had the heterochromia. She had the different eyes. So now she looks like a nun. Yeah, sort of like a lot. I guess Emu's servants kind of look like nuns. I guess I don't know. Now there is one more scene with her that is a little earlier, but we don't see what she looks like, but we just see her in silhouette, and that's when her and Brook were like dancing to Brook's music. So let me see if I can remember what chapter that is. That was a couple ones back. So I know 1152 is when the chapter, the flashback started. That was 1152. So 1151. How old is Gunko? She's younger than Brook chronologically. So Brook is 90 years old. And we see a flashback of Brook. Clearly, he's an adult playing the violin, and Gunko is a child, like, dancing along to it. So let's say, I don't know, maybe around 20 years younger than Brook, if not, like, maybe a little less than that. So, like, if Brook is 90, I think it would make sense for her to be in, like, her early 70s. Like, chronologically, she'd probably be around that old at the time that this happened. So let me see if I can find this. But yeah, something has definitely happened to her. Here it is right here. This is definitely the first. This is like the flashback we got here. So let me pull that up. Okay, so here's the silhouette right here. So we see Brook, with his sword, holding Gunko's hand, and he's not playing the violin. He's like humming a song. He's like singing a song, and like Gunko is dancing along, right? Okay, so Gunko is definitely younger than Brook. But because of how she like hasn't aged at all in like 50 plus years, I'm thinking that, at some point before she became enlisted in Emu's service is when her aging halted in somewhere in her 20s. And then that was it. She didn't age any further than that. But chronologically, she'd probably be in like her 70s. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people think that she is Brook's daughter. I'm still kind of like, up in the air about that. Like the idea we find out that Brook's daughter, like, first of all, existed, that Brook's a dad. I think Brook definitely had some kind of connection to Marijois. We don't know what that is. We know Brook grew up in the West Blue. We know he was the leader of a battle convoy there. So battle convoys typically are, the whole point of a convoy is to protect something, right? And in this case, he might have been like the royal guard. He might have been there to like protect his king and queen when they went to the reverie. So Brook might have been to the reverie. And if Brook was at the reverie, then he might have met Gunko there. And so it might have been something like that. I really still feel like, even despite the fact that, yeah, Brook spent 50 years on the Rumbar ship kind of going insane, and it's been a long time ago, the fact that Brook is like, yo ho ho ho, I forgot I had a daughter. I mean, that's a little extreme to just forget you had a child, right? Or just like you see Gunko and just like, I mean, I guess you could always say, Oda could always pull the trick of it being like, oh, there was so much trauma in Brook's life, he basically just locked it away, right? He just locked away the trauma or whatever of something that happened to Gunko, and so he never remembered her at that point onward. By the by, I also want to bring this up. Gunko's name literally translates to army child, so I don't even know if that's her real name. Because Brook never said, like, Gunko, I remember that name. It's like, no, Gunko might not be her real name. Gunko might be something given later, because Gunko seems like a very much like the kind of name you would give to like a soldier of the world government, right? Gunko seems like the name you would give like someone that is brought into like kind of like what Bradley was in Full Metal Alchemist. Like there was like that group of like children that were raised from birth to be like super soldiers. That seems like the kind of name you would give somebody like Gunko, like, right? Yeah. What if Brook's kingdom was previously ruled by the Manmeyer family? That's a good point, because all of the 20 families, which I do have I finally do have the corrected reference table here. All of the 20 families originally had an island that they ruled over before the war during the Void Century. And so we don't know all of them. We know that the Don Quixote family used to rule over Dressrosa. We learn a little bit about that during that arc. We learn about the original Don Quixote king that was like basically awful to the Tontadas and would like torture them. He was essentially like their Satan figure in the Tontana like mythology, right? Was like the original Don Quixote king was like extraordinarily cruel to the Tontadas. And so then when the war ended and the government took over, the government was established out of the 20 allied alliance, these families left. Most of them left anyway, and they went back to Marijois and they formed their, their government, their Holy Land. Now, they had to, like, give successor families to take over. So, like, the only exception is the Nefertari family. They chose to stay in Alabasta, where they had been living for, like, thousands of years before that. Remember, Alabasta is very, very old. In fact, I was going back and I was looking at some of the old filler episodes when they were walking through the desert, the ones where Chopper and Zoro and Luffy find that like buried poneglyph in the desert, and Sanji and Vivi find these ruins, and it's a filler episode. I even looked through the manga, and it's not in the manga, but they mentioned, they're like, oh yeah, people have been living in Alabasta for like thousands of years, and it's like that. I have a feeling like Oda might have had something to do about those filler episodes, because those filler episodes touch upon a lot of shit involving like Alabasta and the past that I don't know if they just made all that up, or they were just going off of like ancient Egypt or whatever in our world as a parallel, or if Oda had some kind of note that he gave them or something, because they really drive in that like, oh yeah, look at all these ancient ass ruins in Alabasta. It's crazy. But yeah, it's possible that maybe Brook's kingdom, we don't know the name of his kingdom, might have been the original kingdom of the Manmeyer family. And we know, like, sometimes the celestial dragons will pay lip service to, like, the former kingdoms that they might have ruled over. Like, I have an idea, I have a theory. You know how during Luffy's backstory with the Gray Terminal, you have the Goa kingdom, and you had the king, and then, well, Stelly is the king now, but there was a different king back then. And so there was a whole thing where a Saint Jalmac came into the kingdom, and we don't know if Jalmac, the way that they are talking about it is usually that's his first name. It's not his last name, except with Roswald, because Roswald's name is Saint Roswald, which I think Oda kind of, is like, oh man, I messed up on that one. Okay, his name is Saint Roswald. But Saint Jalmac went to the Goa kingdom, and I think it's because his family used to rule over the Goa kingdom. So whatever Jalmac's family is, let me think here. Let's see, where is that one at? I think it's here. World Nobles. So here's Saint Jalmac right here. He was the guy. We've only seen him once in this flashback. We might have seen other members of his family. He might be from a completely different family. We don't know. Yeah, the filler episode where Zoro finds a poneglyph in the desert. Well, they all do. I actually, go back and watch that episode. That is a really good episode. Dude, the reason I watched it was because there's a scene where Zoro and Chopper are talking to each other, where it's just Luffy, Zoro, and Chopper, and Luffy's high on cactus juice like Sokka, right? And so he's off doing whatever. Meanwhile, Chopper is looking at Zoro, and he actually has a conversation there where he's like, hey, Zoro, is this what the crew is always like? Because Chopper just joined, and Zoro was the first person to join. And he kind of goes over this whole thing where he's just like, yeah, I think everybody kind of joined the crew to kind of do their own thing, and, we're not all interested in Luffy's dream. But at the end of that conversation, Zoro says, I found another dream. I found another thing for me to be on this crew about. And Chopper asks him, oh, what is that? Why are you here? And Zoro was like, sorry, I can't really tell you because I really don't even know myself yet. Like, he was still kind of working it out. But that's crazy because later on, that's what I mean. Like, that's a scene between Chopper and Zoro. I feel like Oda might have written that, or if he didn't write that, somebody else wrote that. They know what they were doing. Because later on, when Zoro confronts Mihawk, we do learn that, like, oh yeah, I found something else that's more worthy of my dream than becoming the greatest swordsman in the world, something I'm willing to put that on the sidelines, and that's to make sure Luffy's dream is fulfilled. So that's a really good conversation. That is a really solid conversation. So definitely go and watch that scene in Alabasta. It is filler, but my God, is it a good conversation. And it's the kind of conversations I wish the Straw Hats would just have more, of like, I don't know, Frankie goes over to Sanji and is just like, hey, Sanji, how did you join the crew? I wasn't there for that. Tell me the story. Well, I was cooking at this restaurant in the East Blue, and you know how it is. Luffy showed up. Yeah, I know how that is. He eats a bunch of food. Yeah, like, those kind of conversations I thought would be nice. And we do get those in filler arcs in the anime occasionally. There was a whole episode that focused on Brook right after he joined and how he interacted with the rest of the crew. It was so wholesome. I like that. Yeah. That is a really good scene. It really is. Yes. Why is the bubble shaped like a cube? There is a reason for that, because this is not on the Sabaody archipelago. So most of the times we got to see the world nobles, they're at the Sabaody archipelago, right? Now, I think this might have been Oda messing around with different design ideas, because I think when we do see, actually, I think a lot of the times we see the world nobles at Marijois. I don't think they have the bubble helmets on at all, because they're living in Marijois, so that's not like the lower realm. But like, yeah, the Sabaody archipelago, they just use the bubble helmets, and that they can exist in that climate. So this was actually in the East Blue, so they couldn't have the regular bubble helmets. They had to have like another enclosed system. Although maybe Jalmac just thinks he's special. Maybe Jalmac is like, everyone else is using a sphere, I will use a cube. The gun is actually peak. I mean, that's a damn bazooka. That is not a gun. That is a bazooka. Here's another shot of Jalmac here. He looks like a swell guy. He looks like the kind of guy you want to hang out with and have a beer with, for sure. Yeah. But, yeah, sometimes when we see them in Marijois, they will have, like, bubbles, I think. But a lot of times they don't. Yeah. They just kind of look like spacemen. I am not, you are all using bubbles. I will be Cube. I am the Cube. All right, so let's how about we go through let's go through, hold on, let me pull this up first. Let me go look at some super chats and then let's go through some of Zoro's greatest hits. Let's go through some of Zoro's plans because this is going to be great. I want to do a video, and in this video I want to go through every single plan Zoro has ever come up with in the story. And we're going to evaluate them. So we're just going to name them here, and then in the video I'm going to maybe go into greater detail and stuff. But yeah, this is going to be a fun thing. I already think of a few, but yeah. Cube flavored air. The cube flavored air. It tastes better than the sphere flavored air. It's like all those different kinds of water. Like, here, drink some moon water. It was charged up by moonbeams. All right. Where is the... Oh, wait, hold on. It's over here. Oh, they changed the name of it. Okay, there we go. Hypothetically, could Kaido beat Loki with his fruit and Hasaikai too? I think there's a lot of overhype about Loki, but that's just me. I bet on Kaido. I mean, the idea is, you know, if it's a one-on-one fight, bet on Kaido. But the thing is with Loki is it is effectively never a one-on-one fight because Loki always has Ragnar to back him up. So that's a two-on-one fight. I'm betting on Loki. I am betting on Loki. I think Oda's aware of this. Oda knows what he's doing. You know, we just came out of Wano not too long ago. We just introduced, you know, we had Kaido, one of these really strong characters, you know, one of the most powerful, the pirate with the highest bounty in the entire world that's still alive, well, at the time. So we all know that. So Kaido's really powerful, and I think Oda is going even further with Loki. I think he's like, oh yeah, no, Loki is even stronger than Kaido. I'm fairly sure. The marks can mind control you as long as you're in close proximity, so it could be started as simple control, and then it became ranked up over time. We know that the first, the mark, the bronze mark, just the shallow covenant, if you're in close proximity, and we don't know what the range is of that, I would assume it's at least Marijois, you can be controlled. But beyond that, you can leave Marijois and you can do whatever you want. It also an interesting theory on... if Shanks ever gets into the presence of Emu again, if Emu could just activate the power and then Shanks's arm regenerates and the mark is there. And then Shanks is like, I removed the mark. I'm free. And Emu's like, no, you didn't. Not while you're in the presence of me, you didn't. And it's like, oh, shit. So that's something that's really interesting. And I'm actually kind of following that logic right now. Like, if Shanks ever did get in the presence of Emu, bad shit's going to happen. Yeah. Let's see, anything else here? Zoro has a plan. A Rick plan. Rick Plan is the man with the plan. Yeah. But yeah, okay. So, let's go through Zoro's plans. The first one I can think of. First one, Zoro plan. Cutting off his own legs to escape Galdino's wax. So that's the first one I'm writing down. Zoro cutting off his own legs to escape wax. That was a big brain move. That was a big brain move. All right. So we got that one. All right. Good plan. Good plan. Didn't get executed great, but good plan. All right. Posing when it doesn't work. Yes. Let's follow that up with the posing plan. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, okay. See, okay, now we have to differentiate between a plan and just doing a thing. You know what I mean? Because I feel like a plan is like Zoro sat there in the wax sculpture, and he was actually, you know, turning the old gears a little bit there, and they were actually like, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do, right? The cage thing, I think it was just like a reflexive, like, I'm gonna pick up this cage, right? Yeah. That's more like instinct. Yeah, so the plan to cut up the thing and then pose, like, that was something he actually put some thought into, I feel. We know objects can somehow eat devil fruits. So what if a devil fruit ate a devil fruit? I feel like it would explode. If that is what actually occurs, 2 devil fruits in one host, they just explode. I feel like that the rule doesn't apply to them. Because maybe it's possible, like, devil fruits don't count as objects. Maybe they are technically living things in a weird way. Yeah. Well, according to Vegapunk, there was actually no real Gamu Gamu no Mi in the encyclopedia. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist, but according to him, there was no Gamu Gamu no Mi in the encyclopedia. Nobody wanted to be the rubber man. Yeah. Ultra Instinct. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah. You missed my super chat? Let me refresh it. Sometimes the page does not go. Unless it was a member chat, because for whatever reason, YouTube doesn't save those. I don't know why. I don't see, yeah, see, I don't see you on the list, so it might have been a member chat. Yeah. Zoro had a plan on the Rocket Man to leave it to luck and hope they get past the first gate. That is true. That is true. I'll put that down. Rocket Man. Oh, and then also when Zoro was, didn't Zoro have a plan at one point where I think it might have been when he was chained up to Usopp that he was like, one of us cuts off our hands and then runs to Chopper. And I think they decided on a coin flip or like rock, paper, scissors. And it's like, okay, rock, paper, scissors. Whoever loses gets their hand chopped off and just runs to Chopper and the other one fights. So that's definitely one, if I'm remembering that correctly. I don't remember if I'm remembering that correctly, but that I think definitely happened. Oh, then the one where he threw the Sandai Katetsu into the air. That happened actually before Little Garden. Sandai Katetsu. That's another one. Yeah. Is someone ever going to tell Luffy the real name of his fruit? He doesn't need to know. It's fine. He's not going to rename all of his damn techniques. He's the Gumu Gumu no Mi, yeah. Was the X in Alabasta, was that Zoro's plan or was that Vivi's plan? It was Zoro's plan? Okay, I'll write it down then. That is a plan. That is a plan. So, yeah, that's the point. That's my point. Some of Zoro's plans are very smart. Some of them, not so great. Another one that was good plan, might have sounded crazy on the outside, but a good plan was during Dressrosa when he went up to Orlumbus and he's like, I need you to throw me like one of your bowling balls. And Orlumbus is like, you know that's not really a technique meant to be throwing people safely, right? And it's like, yeah, I know, but you got to do it. Like, okay. And so he yeets Zoro and he cuts up Pika. That plan worked. It worked, though. It was a little unconventional, but it worked. So I'm just going to write down Zoro Orlumbus Pika plan. Yeah, yo, that's right. He did have like 5 plans. I got to go back and reread that one scene. But yeah, he did have like 5 plans to attack Pika. Tactics 5. I remember that. Yeah. Hey, man, the craziest plan could be the most, most effective. Yeah. I cannot jump that distance. You must toss me, large admiral man. Oh, my God. Using Usopp as a sword. Yeah, the Usopp sword. I got to go back and reread that scene, too, but I'm writing it down. All right. So we have cutting Zoro's legs off to escape the wax and then posing. The Rocket Man stratagem. The Sandai Katetsu. Putting the X's on their arms during Alabasta. Zoro or Lumbus. Oh, what about swimming in the frozen water at Drum Island? That was pretty dumb. That was pretty stupid. And then Karu had to go save him. That was pretty stupid. I'm putting that on there. Swimming in a in like a freezing lake. That's definitely a bad plan. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that was funny as hell, but that was, yeah. And then he's just walking around naked on Drum Island. Yeah. Wasn't that a training method, not a plan? I feel like he planned out the training method. Training methods can be planned. They're not mutually exclusive. I could have a training method right now. My training method is I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to lift up 500 pounds of weight with one arm. That's my plan. Oh, ow, I have been hurt now. It's like, yeah, that was a dumbass plan. Not a good plan. Yeah. Oh, man, they need to, okay, either that or these, hold on, I'll refresh the page again. Man, they keep, okay, there it is. Now I see yours. Okay, Barius. It sucks how Road was turned into, like, the pervert gag. I think he was pretty cool as the sun god, hoping he can redeem himself by saving Bjorn. Road was definitely not a cool character. He literally just, like, kidnapped a bunch of people that were approaching Elbaf. Like, yes, some of them were Cypher Pull agents, but many of them probably were not. Were just, like, hapless sailors and fishermen that got kidnapped, and then he, like, very creepily, like, he was undressing Nami and was like, ah, yes, Nami, I will put you in my favorite outfit for you. Like, that is a pretty pervert, creepy move. So, yeah, Road Road was like, he accidentally saved Elbaf in a way by capturing the Cypher Pole agents, but I think he still deserved Gerd beating the shit out of him, okay? Like, that was pretty messed up. Now, I think he's going to have a scene here where he's at least going to go try to save his little brother. He's not, like, a complete piece of shit, but, yeah, he's not a great guy. Yeah. The false sun god. Yes, he is the false sun god, yeah. Yeah, he did literally get crucified by Gerd. that did happen. Yeah. And by the way, something else involving Road, he directly mentions. He recognizes the Straw Hat crew. It's not like he didn't know who they were. He recognized them. Hiruden literally went and said, yeah, the Straw Hats, they saved my life at Dressrosa. They helped me. I am now part of their grand fleet. And so that is your captain telling you his life was saved by Luffy and that we are now part of the fleet. And Road is like, fuck Hiruden, I'm not abiding by that. I don't care. They are humans. They are weaker than me. I am not listening to them. I don't care what Luffy did and to help Hiruden. That is your captain that you are effectively mutinying against. So I was kind of hoping there was being a little bit more of a back and forth between Hiruden and Road. Now, yeah, he did get the shit beat out of him and like crucified, but like I really wanted a moment with Hiruden of just like, hey, I'm your captain. You take orders. You go against my orders. You captured the people that saved my life and threw them in your messed up Lego city. So if you do that shit again, you're out, right? Like that. I was expecting something like that, and it really didn't happen. But yeah, that was messed up. You know what I mean? Because that doesn't fly in the pirate world, right? Yeah. So even going beyond everything else, Road has problems. Yeah. Not the one you want to trust strategy with. I mean, he's the navigator, so maybe Hiruden, I mean, they're childhood friends. So maybe Hiruden was like, okay, I'm not going to like kick you out, but like, I am the captain. You do accept my orders. If you go against my orders, that's mutiny. You know what I mean? Like we can hash it out or fight or whatever, but you don't kidnap my benefactors, the people that saved my life without my knowledge, and then like kind of torture them by throwing them in your messed up Lego city. Yeah, that's not. And of course the Strats weren't ultimately tortured because they were strong enough to get out of there, but like, you know what I mean? Yeah, not cool. Not cool, Road. Yeah. When Vivi and Zoro were being turned into wax, Zoro's plan was to pose in a cool way. Yeah, so that's that. How long is Emu? I don't know. How long is... Emu's... I don't know. I don't know. How long is Emu's crown? It's a pretty tall crown. That crown back there doesn't do it justice. Yeah. God forbid a giant has hobbies. Yeah, that is pretty fucked up. Yeah. So yeah, so we have Gerd and Road and Goldberg. I don't know if they're all going to stay in one group and they're going to fight together. I kind of feel like they are going to because, you know, Zoro, Hiruden, and Stanson. You know, Stanson and Hiruden seem like... I feel like Stanson is like the first mate of the new Giant Warrior Pirates. Granted, there's only like 5 members, but I feel like Stanson is like the second in command under Hiruden. They feel like hunting buddies to me. Like they go out and they like, let's go hunting, Hiruden. Yes, Stanson, let's go. You know, like they go fishing and hanging out together. They seem to have that vibe. So, yeah, I feel like it goes Hiruden and then Stanson. So they're going to fight with Dory and Broggy there. So what other Zoro's plan here? Zoro plan is he becomes the sword. When he was following that cloud that one time, I remember that. Remember when Zoro was following a cloud as a navigational tool? That's definitely a plan. So yeah, I think Zoro, out of all these plans, we don't know what the plan is that he's about to do. But, like, whatever plan he has... okay, now let me ask you another question here. If you have a plan that's a shit plan, and it could go really bad really, really quick, but it ends up working, is it a good plan? Right? Like, let me give you an example, okay? Let's say I walk into a casino, and I go over to the roulette table, right? And my plan is like, I got a plan at the roulette table. And that plan is... I take my entire life savings, all of the money I have, the deed to my house, like everything. I throw everything I own in this world, and I put it on, like, 3 red. And they spin the wheel, and it actually ends up on 3 red, and I win. Is that a good plan? Was that a good plan? No, that is still a shit fuck plan. That is a bad plan, all right? It ended up working out, but that doesn't make it a good plan, because that was complete. It could have ended so badly, so quickly, but hey, it worked out, you know? It's like, I'm gonna go spend my entire life savings on lottery tickets and just hope I win the Powerball. Ah, hey, I won the Powerball, therefore I win. It's a good plan. Yeah. That's literally how every D&D character I play does things. They are horrible plans, but it's just the magical world of D&D. No, that's just dumb luck. Yeah, that's just dumb luck at that point. Yeah. Yeah. The great Emu should celebrate the holidays with us. Have fun. Oh, yes. We're going out to Emu's mother-in-law's house in upstate New York, and we're going to celebrate Easter this year up there with them. Emu's extended family, you know. Thanks for entertaining me for almost a decade. Wow, you're very welcome. Do you think Biblo and Wan Shi Tong are friends? Yeah, they probably hang out. There's probably a magic ancient, like, owl club, like a book club with owls. I follow a Facebook page of nothing but owls. And it's just like whenever I see the owls, like they're just like, oh, that's adorable. You know, if I'm ever in a bad mood, that cheers me up. Which canon Logia would I want? Okay. A Logia that I would want, probably Kizaru's. I feel like that one would be nice. Like you could use it to just, because I always want like a teleportation ability to like fast travel, and that's the most fast traveling devil fruit out of the Logias. You could just warp wherever you want. You know what I mean? So if it's like I feel like visiting Australia, I could just go visit Australia. I want to go to Finland, and I could just warp to Finland. So I'm just gonna go with, and also you're never in a dark room. You can light it up however much you want if you're in a dark room. So it seems pretty handy. Light can generate energy too, right? Like light can generate heat, so you can have heat whenever you want. Yeah, you just make a little laser. Yeah, you're fine. Yeah. Pell should also be in the Biblo group. No, it should be Fukuro. Fukuro should be in the owl book club. Yeah. Finland Saga with Tekking. You know, I'm definitely going to go to Finland now, and I'm going to call my trip the Finland Saga. Tekking's going to Finland. I'm going to, as some tentative plans, we're going to Japan this year. We're planning that. Like, that's already kind of booked. But then we're also, next year, I think I might be going to Australia, New Zealand. It's kind of tentative at the moment, but I might be going there. And right now, actually, my mom is in Antigua and Barbuda. Well, just Antigua, but she won a trip, so she went down there. Finland! Fukurokuju. Fukuro. Finland. Yes. Oh, you know what I started watching last night? Hell's Paradise. I'm really enjoying it. I made it to like episode 5. Really liking it. Gabimaru is a good main character. I don't remember all the other characters' names. But good anime. I'm liking it so far. Yeah. I know that just got a season 2, so I'm starting to watch season 1. I think it might have been when we were in London a couple years ago. I think it was Connor Quest. We were in a big bookstore, like a comic book store in London that also had a bunch of manga. And I think it was Connor Quest that recommended Hell's Paradise, and I bought the manga but never read it. And then I had a friend that was watching it, and I went and read the manga for the first time, and I'm like, this is really good. And then I started watching the anime. It's pretty good. Pretty good. Are you caught up to Kingdom? Yes. In fact, I just read the most recent Kingdom chapter, like, yesterday. The one, I won't spoil it, but the one with the arrows. Yes. So I'm caught up to Kingdom, yes. I know what's going on right now with the Kingdom story, yes. Although I have lagged behind Berserk a little bit. I got to get back on Berserk. I have read the first volume of Gachiakuta. This season of Primal was really good. I was kind of hesitant a little bit as well. Well, okay, I shouldn't say that. I feel like when season 2 ended, like that was the I don't want to get off topic because we still want to talk about One Piece. But like, yeah, I'm really enjoying Primal. Season 2 ended on a perfect note, and then I was like, okay, they're doing season 3. But I was very confident that Gendy Tartakovsky could come up with something that was like, that followed up really well, and he did. A zombie spear was like the best way to go about it. I think he made a interview where he said he was worried about jumping the shark. No, I think it was fine. So, and the fact that he's like slowly rotting and decaying in every episode is just adding to like the strife of this character. So yeah, we'll see. The next episode, I saw the preview for it, and I don't want to spoil it, but it's looking really good. The one that's tonight, it seems to be pretty good, yeah. Yeah, I have the, I have the list here, but for some reason, it has all of the ones from this stream that I've gotten so far. So tell you what, Only, just send me the whatever you messaged in the super chat just here in the regular chat, because it's not showing up here. I don't know why. So just, yeah, send me that chat normally here, and I'll just super pay attention to the chat really quick, and next time you pop up, and then I'll read it there. Sorry about that. I don't know, because I'm going all the way back to the previous streams, like we're already back to the other stream I did, and it's not here. So, I don't know. YouTube is weird. How frequent does Emu need bathroom breaks? Emu uses the bathroom once a month. Really backed up. He uses the bathroom once a month, but he's in there for like 3 hours. What was your take on all the Garp slander during God Valley? I think I've made enough videos about that. I think I made one dedicated video where I talked about that and the idea why he's still in the Marines. I feel like at a certain point, Garp's logic, it does make sense. He wants to protect other people, but it's like also nothing's going to really change with that paradigm. So it's like I'm gonna stay and I'm gonna protect the younger Marines and try to bring them up right, sort of deal. But like the system is still busted as hell, and that plan isn't really going to change it. So I don't know. And Garp definitely has the power to like make change. So I don't know. Maybe when Dragon's revolution really kicks off, I think that's going to be a big moment for Garp on which side he takes, and we'll see where this goes. Yeah. Because like if the Dragon's revolution is popping off and then Garp is like, sorry, son, I have to fight you for justice. I'm like, okay, now it's getting ridiculous. Now that would get ridiculous. Yeah. Oh, okay. That is weird. For whatever reason, your name doesn't come up as only for Shiva on the super chat. It just says for Shiva for whatever reason. So it's a different name from this chat to it like cuts off half your name on the username. I have never seen that happen before. That is so weird. Maybe I might. I don't know. I told a story on my side channel last year. It wasn't a fake story. It was a real story about like a Dollar Tree on Christmas Eve. And I was going to try to do something like that this past Christmas Eve on the vlog channel, but I couldn't come up with a story that like was really like interesting. So the next time I think of a story that's interesting, sure, I'll go on the vlog channel. I'll pop in there and log in and I'll tell a story again. Sure. Saw you on Alt-Shift-X live. Oh yeah, yes, I'm a big fan of A Song of Ice and Fire and The Night of the Seven Kingdoms and Fire and Blood. I have read all of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms because those are more of like novellas, and I've read the 3 of those. George R.R. Martin says he wants to make like 15 of them total, so I don't know about that. I would love more of those, but maybe I would be okay with like another writer doing that. I think also George R.R. Martin came out recently and just basically said that like, yeah, if I die before Game of Thrones is over, there's not going to be a ghostwriter or anything. It's just over. I'm like, okay. But I like A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I like the perspective that we're traveling with just one person. Like we have Dunk and Egg as their story, and we get to see Westeros from the common folk, from the small folk, as it were. Yeah. Do you think Zoro's plan will be try to make Dory and Bragi fight each other? Yes, so I've been seeing a lot of that. I've been seeing a big theory about, like, that is actually, honestly, I have no idea what Zoro's plan was when he said it in the chapter. I'm like, what could this be? It could be anything from the dumbest plan ever to just, like, I'm going to hit them with swords, I'm going to cut off their legs, and then they won't be able to fight anymore, to something actually really brilliant. And I think that is a smart idea, because that is literally a tie back to Little Garden, because if we go to Little Garden here, go to Geography is Everything. Little Garden. All right. So this is Little Garden, right? And so we got the two large skull mountains of what used to be Sea King skulls. Side note, these Sea Kings are fucking massive. Like, these are bigger than every other. These are on the level of Sea Kings that, like, we see. I think we need to understand, side note, on how just big Sea Kings are really quick. Hold on. We're gonna do Sea King marine biology really quick. Anybody know Jotaro? Jotaro, marine biologist, Star Platinum guy? Does anybody know Jotaro? Does anybody have Jotaro's number? We need to call Jotaro because he's the only marine biologist I know. He's fictional, but he's the only marine biologist I know. Hold up. Those are the Sea Emperors. All right, give me a sec here. Sea Kings, here they are. All right, so Sea Kings come in a variety of different sizes. I need you to understand, Little Garden is not a small island. I know it has the prefix little in it, but it's not a small island. Little Garden is a massive fucking jungle. This is like an aerial view, but it is a massive jungle, okay? So this is the Lord of the Coast. This is the Sea King that ripped off Shanks' arm, right? And you can see its head here. It is about the size, that's Higama about to get munched on. It's about the size of like a rowboat. Its head can like eat a rowboat very comfortably. That thing is not eating like a battleship or the Mary or something like that. But that's about the size of the Lord of the Coast, okay? Now, it's a big, scary sea monster, but it ain't the size of a mountain kind of thing, right? And so here are the Sea Kings that show up in the Calm Belt here. And then there are also the Sea Kings that show up at Fishman Island. Now, the scale of this is absurd, but Fishman Island is a giant bubble. And, like, look how, like, it's kind of hard because, you know, this isn't Fishman Island. This is the Noah. But just look at the size of these things. Each one of these things are, like, bigger than a mountain. Like, you got to understand, these Sea Kings that we see at Fishman Island way in the deep sea, they are bigger than literal mountains. Their heads are the size of mountains, okay? Which also gives you an idea of how big the Noah is. But, yeah. So, each one of these is essentially, like, island-sized. Yeah. So, this is Little Garden, and each of those Sea King skulls were a kill done by Dorian Broggy. And I think I actually have, if I remember correctly, yeah. So this is what they originally looked like right here. So this is in the flashback at Little Garden where we get to see Dorian Broggy laying out their kill. Which, by the way, the whole beginning of, I'm going to show you a character here. This little girl started a mighty war between giants. This little kid single-handedly destroyed the giant warrior pirates with a single question. This little kid right here is Loki level power. With a single sentence, with a single question, destroyed an entire pirate crew. That little girl is actually Emu. Nope, that's canon. It's canon. So Dorian Broggy killed these Sea Kings, and that little kid goes up and asks them, so which one is bigger? And then Dorian Broggy were like, huh? Wait a minute. Which one of our Sea Kings are bigger? What the hell? Well, let's look. So they travel to Little Garden, and they find this random deserted island, and they just lay out their kills. And they're like, I think mine is bigger, Dory. Well, I think mine's bigger, Broggy. Look at him. By the way, let's determine this right now. Let's decide this right now. Which Sea King is bigger? I think the one on the right. I think the one with the spikes coming out of its mouth, the spikes coming out of its back. I think that one is canonically the bigger one. I think it's the one on the right. Now, I don't think we actually know which one killed which one. We don't know which kill Dory got and which one Broggy got. But I think the one on the right is actually bigger. Yeah. Oh, that's so funny. That's Ask D Question's daughter. No, it would actually be his like grandmother. That's the grandmother of Ask D Question. Yeah, I think it's the spikes that do it, but even without the spikes, I feel like, all right, let's take the spikes out of the equation. Nah, the one on the right is still bigger. The one on the right, the Sea King on the right is still bigger. Yeah. So that is where their combat began. And also, coincidentally, Zoro and Sanji have always sort of had a little bit of a rivalry, but their rivalry really didn't get kicked off until Little Garden. That was when the Zoro-Sanji rivalry really got kicked off. Now, granted, the only time Zoro and Sanji really got to hang out with one another was like post Arlong Park and Logtown. But all throughout post Arlong Park and Logtown, they don't really exhibit like a level of like absolute like disdain for one another. Whiskey Peak too, but remember in Whiskey Peak, Sanji was asleep for most of it. Sanji was asleep for most of Whiskey Peak, and Usopp as well. They didn't wake up until the very end. So I'm just saying, like, this might have been the starting gun for both Zoro and Sanji and Dory and Broggy's rivalry, which was a hunting contest. Yeah. Yeah, that was the tipping point. That was the moment they couldn't handle it anymore, right? Yeah. And so slowly but surely the Sea Kings decomposed and they formed the Skull Mountains. Yeah. Yep. So, I don't know. The idea of Zoro just going up to Dory and Broggy and figuring out a way for them to fight each other, that's not a bad idea. That is actually a good stratagem. If that is actually what Zoro's plan is, I will put it in the good plan category. I still think Zoro's has worse plans than good plans, but, you know, it would be in the good plan category. At least it would distract Dory and Broggy for a time. And by the way, it was, okay, that was with the Nightmare Monsters, not with Domi Reversi. But it was mentioned with the Nightmare Monsters that they will eventually just begin to fight each other. So maybe Zoro's plan is just like, hey, Fenrir, the Needhog over there says that you suck. Oh, really? He did now. And then they just, all the Nightmare Monsters then start fighting against one another. And Zoro's the impetus for that. Oh, man. Yeah, they would have to weigh them. Yeah, they didn't try weighing them. Maybe they didn't have a scale back in the day. Yeah. I still think Loki is a hawk. He's an eagle. Loki is a fucking eagle. All right? He's gonna sail through the skies. Fly so very high and touch the sky. And never asked why it is that Loki can't fly. All you need is friendship. Yeah. Friendship of Loki and a squirrel. That's all you need. Oh yeah, rest in peace to the great Eric, a ship that, honestly, it might have been Theseus a couple of times because it is over 100 years old. I feel like it probably would have been rebuilt a couple of times. Favorite Targaryen king, better king, Maegor or Aenys? Let's see. I mean, hold on a minute. I'm trying, because a lot of the Targaryens have similar names here. Yeah. Actually, let me just pull it up. I liked, okay, King Viserys. It's like a conflict of himself because he was ruling over a relatively peaceful period. And I think he felt like he was a weak king because of that. And it's unfortunate because it's almost like, oh, the kings that came before me, like Aegon was the conqueror and Maegor was like this brutal guy. And they all have marks of history. And I think Viserys was just like, man, there's nothing going on while I'm king. I'm lame. I'm just the lame king that didn't do anything. And it's just like, dude, it's the time of peace. You know, be thankful it's the time of peace. Yeah. And then, of course, though, he didn't really focus on, he wasn't great with family relations, of course, because that's kind of how the whole Civil War started. But, yeah. But, dude, that scene where King Viserys walks into the throne room and they have his royal retinue and he's wearing the mask and his body is literally falling apart from, like, leprosy. You know, King Viserys of House Targaryen, the first of his name. Lord Defender of the Realm. And he walks in and he's like, but he sits on the throne, damn it. Yeah, that was a really cool scene. That was like one of the best scenes of the fucking season 1. It was so good. Yeah. Yeah, Magor was cruel. He was an awful king. But like I think he might fall in the category of like, okay, in Bleach, a lot of people's favorite character is Mayuri. Mayuri is like one of the most evil fuckers in all of Bleach. Like he is just awful. All right? But he's kind of like one of those villains you love to hate kind of thing, right? Makor was awful. Where is Vegapunk's corpse? Last time we saw it, it was on the Great Eric. Oh no! Oh no! Well, they gave him a Viking funeral, if nothing else. Because last time we saw it, it was on the Great Eric. They never did give Vegapunk's body a proper burial. They just immediately went to the banquet. Yeah. Oh man, I'm assuming they stopped somewhere. Yeah, we'll get back to the super chats. I have them pulled up here. We'll go through those. Oh, no! Oh, by the way, check it out. I went to an anime convention yesterday, just like a small little local one they have around here. And I got a little Edison, little robot buddy. I was like, okay, I have to be careful of how many more pop figurines I get because I literally have a shelf up here that's completely full, and I have more than that. But like, I can only buy like one pop figurine a year because I have too many. But I saw a little Edison pop figure, and I'm like, oh, I gotta get a little Edison pop figure. Look at that guy. Yeah. Little robot buddy. Yeah. That's adorable. So Vegapunk is gone. Now there are currently 3 Vegapunks on Elbaf. There is Lilith, who is Vegapunk number 2. Then there is the corpse of the Stella, which is either burning on a ship or rotting somewhere else or just maybe they buried him off screen. I don't know. Or there is the sealed Vegapunk in like the cryo chamber. So in the clone of that. So there's currently 3 Vegapunks on Elbaf. That looks better than any pop figure I've seen. Yeah, I feel like because Edison has such a it was a very unique figurine. That's why I bought it. But like, yeah, I also bought it's upstairs, but I bought like a cicada that was like preserved in like a nice little box, and like you hang it up on the wall as like wall decoration. Dude, they had so many. It was a really cool stall that had like leaf bugs, and they had an Asian giant hornet, and they had a tarantula, and they had a centipede, like a giant jungle centipede, like preserved on a box. And I'm like, I love bugs, and I love like studying like entomology. Now, you know, centipedes are myriapods and tarantulas are arachnids, obviously, but they had all these, and I'm like, man, I kind of want to get the giant centipede. But, like, I don't know, hanging up a centipede in my house, I don't know, somebody comes to my house and they go into my bathroom and they see the centipede in my bathroom and be like, I don't know, I'll just get the cicada. The cicada was pretty sweet looking. Yeah. Read my last super chat. I shall, since you asked. Please stop naming bugs. Gabon was willing to let Loki spend the rest of his life locked up for something he didn't do while Gabon was chilling with Ripley. So yes, but that's also kind of what Loki wanted. Loki did actually say, like, I don't want you to ever tell anybody, no matter what. And so Loki left, he came back, he was chained up, and maybe there could be maybe one more flashback where maybe Gabon went over to Loki while he was chained up when he got brought back to Elbaf by Shanks, and Gabon could go and be like, hey, Loki, are you sure you don't want me to tell anybody? You are chained up. And Loki might have still been, while he was chained up, he might have been like, no, don't tell a fucking soul. It's fine. I'll deal with it. You know, I've been locked up before, and he stayed chained up. And Gabon's like, okay. Just wanted to double check. So I think Gabon might have double checked with him while he was sealed up in the primordial realm. I think Gabon might have went to go see him at least once in 6 years, right? What do you think caused the downfall of Bleach? I don't know. I think it's just like, Bleach never really did, reach the same levels, like in terms of the popularity polls with like Naruto and One Piece at the time. I think it was always bigger in the West. I think Bleach was always more popular in the West, and I think just in Japan, it just was, the fandom just wasn't on that level of Naruto and One Piece during the time period. And I think for that reason, I think Shonen Jump kind of started to like sort of like shelve it a little more. I think that's kind of what happened. Because at the end of the day, it's all about marketing and money and whatever's making the most, like whatever's ranking the highest. That's what they push. Yeah. I mean, that argument can be said for a lot of different manga. The idea of like not letting the mangakas do what they want to do with the final arc and be like, hey, yeah, the numbers are down, so you got to end this in like 6 months. I have like another 3 years planned. Yeah, you got to end it in 6 months. Yeah, I feel like that's kind of how it happens. I'll be right back. I'm going to go grab a cicada. If you don't like bugs, then maybe don't stick around. I'll be right back. Oh, that's not... Okay. I'll just show it this way. This is a Cryptomophana aquila. This is the bat-winged cicada. Trying like, because there's like a reflection. It has like a glass surface there, but you can see him there. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool thing. The guy I bought that from told me, like, all right, now listen. A couple of things I need to tell you. Number one, don't ever put it in direct sunlight. Because if you put it in a room, like right next to a window, it's going to get bleached. It's going to get sun bleached, right? Yeah. And then he told me, don't put it in the shower. Because somebody, so don't put it out in direct sunlight and don't let water touch it. So it's a gremlin. But he's just like, it's a mogwai. But he's like, yeah, don't put it in the shower because somebody actually did that before. And yeah, moisture doesn't work so well. So I don't know if it comes back to life, maybe. If I put it in the shower, maybe it comes back to life. So Vagabond, I kind of am lagging a little bit behind Vagabond. I need to get back into it. I can't remember what chapter I was at, but it's not... I read the first omnibus, but I haven't moved on to the second omnibus yet. I need to go and I need to buy the second one and, pick up that. But I did very much enjoy the opening parts of the story and who it was about, and I was like, okay, yeah, it's about Musashi. This is going to be fun. It comes to life with a mere drop of water. Yes. So, yeah. Bugs. I like bugs. But, yeah. All right. I got it. I have all the super chats right here. Now I just have to pay attention. For some reason, sometimes it shows up the username here, but a different name here. So I'll have to go by the PFP. I'll have to go by like the icon, I guess. You think we're gonna see Shanks versus Loki and Shanks' flashback? Maybe Shanks had a plan and he didn't want Loki to get himself killed. Yeah, there's got to be something tying into that because it really doesn't make any sense that Shanks would go out and just beat up Loki and then drag him back to Elbaf, like there has to be something else going on there. Like maybe Loki was about to do something, like he was about to charge into Marijois, and Shanks was like, no, you can't do that. If they get control of you like they did with Harold, then it's all over. Maybe that is the reason, because now Loki has the legendary devil fruit. Like, Loki, if they take control over you, the world is fucked, all right? It is done. It is the same equivalent as if Harold ended up eating the legendary devil fruit, so you are not allowed to go there. Okay, and so maybe they had a fight, and then he had to get dragged back to Elbaf. That, I think, actually makes a lot of sense. Do you think Loki blames Shanks for Harold being promoted Wait, hold on. Do you think Loki blames Shanks for Harold being promoted because he ran away from the Holy Land? Maybe that's why Loki calls him a coward. At the end of the day, that was Harold's choice to take up the sigil. You know, not that Harold knew about everything involving that contract, but he knew, like, enough. Like, they were telling him about how the contracts worked and how you have to answer to the Great One and shit. Like, I think any rational person that would have queued up some red flags of, like, this is sounding like a creepy-ass cult. You know, you want me to, you're branding me with symbols and you're, like, telling me to worship the Great One. It's just like, this is getting weird, right? You know? And also, Harold didn't ask, like, barely any follow-up questions. He's like, well, wait a minute. What is getting the silver package? Is there any downsides to that? I'm not saying they would have told him, but he doesn't really ask a lot of questions. He just like, oh man, promotion. Okay, let's go. You know, like Harold did that. He did that out of his own free will. They didn't force that upon them. He had a choice. Okay. He had a choice to leave if he wanted to, and he didn't. So yeah. And yeah, I don't know if Loki would blame him for that. There might be another reason he calls him that. Yeah. Oh, Shanks defeating Loki's gonna... Oh, yeah, the Shanks versus Loki fight I think we're definitely going to have to see at some point, because that's just a whole part of this story that just... How the hell did he get dragged back to Elbaf and chained up? We know Shanks was involved, but how did that actually go? You know, we need to see that, 100%. We're going to see that either from another perspective of Loki's flashback, Loki flashback take 2, or a Shanks flashback. One of the two. Yeah. Harold did not have a good plan. He was very myopic. He had tunnel vision is what he had. He had like, this is the only way to help Elbaf and this is the way I'm going to do it. There is no other way, you know? And it's just like, I think it's also a little bit of sunk cost fallacy too, of like, he was so dedicated to the world government for like 40, 50 years trying to get into their good graces. Like, I can't give up now, you know? So yeah, there's a little bit of issues there with Harold for sure. Divine Departure 2.0. Super Kamusari! Move Emu closer. I dare not. I dare not. Rox was right. He should have listened. Rox kept telling him. Rox kept telling Harold's ass over and over again. Like, this is not a good idea, and here's why. And Harold's like, yes, but it is. Oh, dude. Yeah, Rox, man. Rox had a hard life. He was stuck between a rock and a hard place for sure. Can't just stop at the bronze package. When you sign up for a pyramid scheme, you gotta keep going up. There's only one way to go. Does Emu ever talk to you in your dreams? Okay. I had a dream last night that was very long, and it was a One Piece related dream. Where I'm just going to straight up tell you this. I don't really know how else to describe it, really, but it went on and on and on. I learned about who Emu was, and Marcus Mars gave me a letter basically written by Emu. Emu has shit handwriting, by the way, because the letter that Marcus gave me was like chicken scratch. And it's like basically like, you now know about Emu's existence. You can't tell anybody about this or I'll kill you kind of shit, right? Like, and it's just like, you need to work for us. And then me and Marcus Mars are basically like teaming up as like, you know, we were basically going on adventures together. We were basically like, he was my like liaison or whatever. Like we go on like, we're like a buddy cop routine. Yeah. So that was my dream last night. Yeah. Why am I telling you? Stop. Boom! I just die right here. Yeah. But yeah. Marcus Mars was the one that gave me the letter, and he's just sitting there, like, just very determined. Yeah. Yep. That was my dream, and it just kept going. And it kept going and going. And also, I think the world kind of ended at some point, too. I think, like, giant, like, you know, tsunamis were, like, hitting the earth. I think that's because I just watched Deep Impact the other day. That was because I watched Deep Impact the other day, which is like it has Morgan Freeman in it. It's like a world. It's like an end of the world movie, kind of like Armageddon or Day After Tomorrow. And so that's the reason I had that dream. That was mixing in with that, like, oh no, giant, waves, like, and like meteors hitting the earth, and like, oh no, it's all going down. Yeah. So that was a weird dream. How long did it feel like it lasted? Days. It felt like one of those dreams that had different parts. Like here's part 1, part 2, part 3, and they were all very connected together. They like the transitions between each one were like seamless. So it's it's crazy. I was weird, yeah. Morgan Freeman is Emu? Yes. Yeah, Morgan Freeman plays the President of the United States in Deep Impact. Yeah. I think that's not the first time he's actually played the President either. Do you think we'll ever see Tritoma again? Well, she's dead now, so no. But we probably will see her in a flashback. Yeah, she might be Luffy's mom. Who knows? Maybe. Let's see here. Tritoma. Let's see here. Where did I have that? Yes, so this is Tritoma. She was the former Empress of Amazon Lily, right before Boa. That does not make her Boa's mom or anything like that. It's just the actually the way they decide who the Empress is like who's the strongest of the Kuja, because strength equals beauty in the land of the Kuja. Hold on, I think I have another, because Oda revealed her a little while ago in an SBS. I think it was maybe 2024 he revealed her. Maybe it was earlier than that. Yeah, Kuja Empress. So this was before this, but we have basically the way it works is, yeah, there you go. So Empress of Amazon Lily, we had 3 generations ago was Elder Neon or Gloriosa, and then we had Shakuyaku, who was Shaki, and then we had Tritoma, and then we had Boa. And, it's really tragic because Tritoma apparently died because of love sickness. And Gloriosa and Shakuyaku and Boa all fled the island to cure their love sickness. So the question is, who did Tritoma fall in love with, and why did she not leave the island? Now, I don't know who she fell in love with, but you could say dragon. That lines up a little bit. But then why didn't she leave the island? I think that actually does have an explanation, and it's kind of Gloriosa and Shakuyaku's fault. So, like, the person that, you are the Empress of the Kuja, right? Like, you are there to lead your people on this island. Like, this is a very important position to have. And to just, like, I'm leaving now, like Gloriosa did that and just abandoned her people and left, and then Shakuyaku kind of did the same thing to go start a bar. And then it was up to Tritoma, and I feel like Tritoma she became an empress at a young age, and she was like, I cannot abandon my people the same way. Like, the last 2 empresses literally abandoned their people and ran away. I have to be the one to be there for them. And so even though she got love sickness and she was about to die, she's like, I'm not abandoning my people. Maybe she didn't believe in it. Maybe she just thought it was a bunch of bullshit. And she's like, I'm not going to die. And then she died. So I think that might have been, like, the reasoning for Tritoma, because especially if you can imagine, like, your, like, mother figures, the people that were kind of like, because she was on the same crew. Gloriosa was the captain, Shakuyaku was the first mate, and Tritoma was, like, an apprentice pirate at that point. And it's like, these people abandoned you, and then it's like, okay, well, I'm going to stay there, and I'm going to be the one that sticks around. Yeah. So we do not know who Boa's mom is. I don't think it makes sense. No, it could. Yeah, Tritoma could be Boa's mom and Boa Marigold and Sandersonia. It's not impossible, but I don't like to think it's like a strict hierarchy, like passed down from, mother to daughter kind of thing. What if Zoro asks Domi, Dory, and Broggy who's stronger? Yeah, I think we talked about that a little earlier, Marco. I think that might actually be part of the plan. Part of Zoro's plan. here's my plan. And he starts cutting off his own legs. Like, what are you doing? Hiruden's like, what are you doing? It's like, don't worry. I've tried this before. It'll work this time. You know? Yeah, also Tritoma didn't know how serious love sickness would be. Did she ever see Gloriosa or Shaki contract the disease? No, she never did, because they left before that. So, yeah. What chapter is the start of Elbaf? 1126. Chapter 1126. The love sickness is a red herring for poison-based diseases, and it'll be the one Roger also had, making it being Luffy's mom more painful. Ooh, maybe. I don't know, but it really doesn't seem like poisoning. The idea, it really does seem like it is an actual disease they are afflicted with, because it didn't happen until Luffy came to the island, unless Luffy brought the disease. and Bo is the only one that got sick from it. So no, I think love sickness is a real thing. It's a real disease in this world. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, she must have been strong, yeah. I think Tritoma was pretty powerful. If you're the Empress of Amazon Lily, you're strong. You're also the captain of the Kuja Pirates when you do that, and yeah, you have to be strong for that. So yeah, Tritoma could have been like Luffy. She could have been like a prodigy and like really strong. She might have had a powerful devil fruit too. We have no idea. We do not know much about her. Pop quiz, what's chapter 1111? It's a chapter during the raid on Onigashima. I don't know exactly. You know, I'm assuming it might involve Zoro in some way, but I don't know. But it's definitely during the Onigashima raid. Does love sickness only affect Amazons, or do you think it's open to anybody, the Kuja? I think it's the idea, like what Oda's going with here, is because they live on Amazon Lily their whole lives, they don't ever get to see the outside world, so it's kind of like, you know, whenever they meet a guy, they just, like, don't know how to handle those feelings, I guess, and then it just, they get sick and they almost die. Unless they go out, they leave the island. It's kind of like the adventure hook disease. It's like, you must leave the island to go on an adventure. You must heed the call of adventure, or you will die. Yeah. How far are you in JJK? I haven't read JJK in a while. I couldn't tell you where I left off. I was still on season 1. The wiki page mentions Zoro in the very first sentence. Yeah, well, because Oda really likes numbers, and so the numbers of 1111 means the Zoro, like, Zoro's bounty is like literally 1,100,000,000 like million or 111 million, I think. Yeah. Tritoma cannot be Crocodile. No, she can't. It doesn't line up. Crocodile is like 46 years old right now. And Tritoma, we see Tritoma in the flashback when it was like 44 years ago, and she was like a teenager at the time, or, you know, she wasn't a baby at the time. She was like an apprentice pirate on the ship. So yeah, she can't beat Crocodile, unless Oda messes with like the retcon with the ages, like with Caesar again. But yeah, that can't be the case. Yeah. Oh, 11111. Oh, sorry. 1011 is Wano, because chapter 1000 is Wano. Sorry. I still do that all the damn time. I will still mix up chapter numbers from 1011 and then 11. We're in 11s right now. Once we get to the 12s, I think it'll be easier. Once we get to like 1204, I think it'll be easier. But I still mix that up all the damn time. Yeah, 111 would have been an egghead. Yeah. I don't know. How many people really want... I'll do a poll here. How many people really want Crocodile to be Luffy's mom? All right. Do you want Crocodile to be Luffy's mom? Yes or no? Go ahead. Let's see. I know I have to get a poll here. I have to get a poll on how many people really want this. Hold on. What's chapter 777? That is during the latter half of Dressrosa. I'm going to say it was one of the fights involving the Grand Fleet, like Leo or Ideo or Orlumbus or Hiruden fighting Mach Vice. It was probably somewhere around there. Okay, good. So, yeah. I just think it wouldn't make any sense. Yeah, I'm with that as well. The idea that Crocodile used to maybe be a woman via Ivankov's powers, that could happen, sure, totally. But, like, him being Luffy's mom never makes any sense. I think actually even the voice actor for Crocodile, or no, not the voice actor, the guy that's going to play Crocodile in live action was doing an interview, and people were asking him questions about the character, and he actually has read the manga, and he's like, yeah, before you ask, I don't know if Crocodile's Luffy's mom, or I don't want Crocodile to be Luffy's mom. Yeah. I think it's just being very desperate for a meme to be real. That's the idea where it comes from. Yeah. Yeah. Y'all want the memes to be real. I want Loki to be an eagle. I want Loki to be an eagle. Actually, here you go. Hold on. Yeah, Joe Mangiello. Hold on. Do you want Loki to be an eagle? Yes or no? I wish I could vote. Can I vote? I cannot vote. Oh, wait, no. Can I vote? No, I cannot. I cannot vote. It will not let me vote. Sad. Now, I don't know. Some of you might be biased right now because I'm the one actually saying this. Like, oh, Tekking, I'll give it to you. He can be an eagle. Fine. Fuck it. Whatever. He can be a damn eagle. Eagles do not sound like that. I also follow a ornithology page on Facebook, like a raptor rescue center on Facebook. And they yeah, eagles do not sound like that. Yeah. 53% for Eagle Loki. Loki is a duck. If Loki is an eagle, does that make him an American? I mean, I don't know. They're eagles, and it is if he turns into a bald eagle. There's other kinds of eagles. Loki turns into a horse. He turns into the fantasy horse that was murdered when he was born. Yeah. How am I doing? I'm doing good. Doing all right. Just a Sunday morning here, chilling out. Starting to feel a little hungry, so probably going to go make lunch here in a bit. Aren't bald eagles not even native to America? Yeah, probably not. You know what's interesting about the horse? The horse actually did start originally in the North American and South American continents. Well, I don't know if they made it all the way down to South America, but they were definitely in the North American continent. And then they, because of the land bridge back in the day when the continents were different, they made it all the way to the Eurasian like steppes area, like the plains and things like that, right? And so then it got separated, and the horses here, which would have been different from like modern riding horses, but they were all like overhunted and killed, and like a long time ago. And then then the horses got brought back over during like Cortez when he was like landing to go and like take over like the Aztec Empire and shit like that. So that's when horses were kind of like reintroduced into the New World. But they did originally evolve here. Yeah, they did start here. What will you do for 1 million subs? I am a long way away, dude. I am creeping with the sub count. It's taking a while, all right? Like, I'm not even at 750 yet, and it's taken me, like, I don't even remember when I hit 700,000. It was, like, 3 years ago at this point. So it's taken me 3 years to go up 40,000 subscribers. So I think it'll be a while until I hit 1 million. We start getting to, like, 900K, then I'll start thinking about the million celebration. Do you eat horse? I've never eaten a horse. I can't say I have. Did you get any winter storm? Last week, it was pretty bad, yeah. And there was a guy, he has a tractor. So, like, my neighbors were out there, with their snowblowers and everything, and they offered if I needed help. And I'm like, oh, no, thank you so much. I have my own, snowblower. I was going to go out there a little earlier, and I just kind of didn't because it kept snowing. It was, like, constant snow. And I'm like, well, if I go out there and plow the snow, it's just going to get right back there. So it's like, whatever. So I waited and waited and waited. And then I was actually making a video. I think I was actually filming the, what did I make last Sunday? It might have been live stream last Sunday, or maybe it might have been a video for, like, the geography video. I can't remember what it was. I think it was the geography video, actually. Anyway, I get a knock on my door, and one of my neighbors has a big John Deere tractor with, like, a plow attachment, and his name is Dalton. So a guy named Dalton knocked on my door and was like, hey, I got this tractor. You want me to, like, plow out your driveways? And I'm like, yeah, if you could. And I gave him some money for that, and I thanked him, and he was a really nice dude. So, and it's a good thing he did that, too, because when I answered the door, I mean, like, the snowplows have been going up and down the street all day, and there was already like a foot of snow in the street. You know, and I was like, okay, yeah, no, I'm just going to have this guy do it. So he was very nice. Was he a bison by any chance? You know, he was human, but I don't know if he has the ability to turn into a bison. I wasn't keeping an eye on him the entire time. He might have been able to turn into a bison. But yeah, the guy, and by the way, the only guy I know in real life named Dalton, the only guy named Dalton that I actually know, because Dalton is not like the most common of names. But yeah, that was really funny to me. Guy named Dalton knocks on my door on a snowy blizzard day, and it was like, hey, do you need me? I could plow out your driveway if you want. I'm like, yeah, that'd be great if you could. And dude, even when he did that, he used a tractor and he got rid of it. Within like the next morning, I still had to run the snowplow because of just how much snow we got. Like he did a good chunk of the work, but it was still plowed shut. It was bad. Yeah. Yeah, rookie mistake. Now, it wasn't even really a rookie mistake because I've lived through this. It was more of just like, I'm not going anywhere because I'd already planned. I knew we were getting the storm, and I was like, I am not planning on going anywhere for the next 2 days. So, you know, hopefully by then it'll melt a bit. The other Dalton I know is from Lucky Luke. I don't know what that is. But, yeah, Dalton, he was a nice guy. Yeah. Did you get a fever or something? Your voice sounds low today. No, I feel fine. I feel fine. I did just wake up a little while ago, though, maybe. I don't know. That's something to do with it. A French comic. Oh, I see. I finally finished Way of Kings. I finally finished the first book of the Stormlight Archive. And I'm reading the second one right now. I'm really into it. It takes me a while to get into books, but once I get into it, it'll be, like, dedicated. It took a while, but I got there, you know? So it's a Brandon Sanderson series. I'm really excited. And, yeah, I'm really loving the characters so far. I ended up going out 3 total times to shovel in that storm. Yeah, after Dalton plowed out my driveway, I definitely went out more often after that and kept it clear as much as I could, yeah. Yeah. How did you like the ending? I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the, I didn't really care for Dalinar at first. I thought he was kind of like about as interesting as a wet dish rag. And I was like, his initial chapters, I was like really slogging through them. I was just like, okay, I really don't care about this Dalinar guy. I want to get back to Kaladin. And by the end of the book, I was actually really invested in Dalinar's character. I'm like, okay. And I have a couple of friends that have both read it, and they're both like, oh yeah, no, he becomes like a really likable character. But like at the beginning, he could be a little boring. But yeah. Have you heard they're making a series on Apple TV? Yes, I have. And also, I was in, so my friend Kevin has read all of the Stormlight Archive. Like, he is big into it. And so is my friend Patrick. And I thought it would be great. I was in a Barnes & Noble, and I saw an actual Stormlight Archive RPG, like a D&D like kind of style game, like a TTRPG. And I'm like, I want to play that so bad. And my friend Kevin is like, yeah, I know that exists too. And when you read more of the books, I would love to play that with you. So it's one of those things. It's like, it's the same thing with like a Game of Thrones RPG. It's like, or any property really. It's like, unless you really know the franchise well, then it's like, it's going to be confusing as hell, right? Like, you know, you could probably pick up stuff as you go, but like if you're playing like a Harry Potter RPG or a Game of Thrones RPG, if you don't at least know the names of like the main houses and who rules them and like what time in Westeros, like, oh, we're setting this RPG during the time of the Dance with the Dragons. It's a tumultuous time in Westeros. If you do not know the backstory with all of those characters and the houses and the timeline and what's going on at the time, you're not really going to enjoy the full breadth of what this is, right? I played a little bit of Magic the Gathering. Rustage actually showed me how to play it, but I haven't played it in a little while. I was playing it online for a bit and just kind of stopped. Yeah, I got to make the Jinbei video, the Jinbei Straw Hat discussion video, which I haven't made yet. I know. Hold on. I have it here. Yeah. And I haven't made the thumbnail for that yet. Got to do that. What are you going to do when One Piece ends? I mean, One Piece is never really going to end because there's going to be side properties and stories and movies, and like it's like Dragon Ball. It makes too much money for it to just disappear. So, yeah. But I don't know. Like, I'll see whatever the manga landscape is at the time. and I will talk about whatever's there, because I can't say like, oh, I'm going to talk about this series when it ends. It's like that series might end by the time, like, I was like, oh, I'll talk about when One Piece ends, I'll talk about My Hero Academia. Well, My Hero Academia ended a year ago, basically. So it's like, yeah, like, you don't know. There could be a brand new series that could be one of the new big three, one of the new big series that blows everybody's socks off. That could come out next year for all we fucking know. And then One Piece ends in like 2033, and that series is still like the new One Piece that everyone's watching and enjoying, you know? And I'm just like, all right, I guess it's going to be that one. What was the new one that just came out? Because I looked at Viz Media. I just saw the new one that came out. Kinato's Magic. Wait a minute. Did Horikoshi draw this? That looks like Deku is the main character. Hold on a minute. Kinato's Magic. Okay. No, it's story and art by Kento Amemiya, but looks very similar to Horikoshi's style. Very similar. Kinato's Magic is from Shadow Eliminators. The author is Kento Amemiya. Yeah. So I don't know if this is based off something else, but this just came out today. Like, today on Viz. Like, I haven't even looked into this yet. Yeah. You know what I'm actually doing? I'm rereading Fairy Tail again. Yeah. You know how I did those videos on the channel where I would, like, once a year, I would stop and just make a video about Naruto, and we just bullshit about Naruto. Like, hey, guys, remember Kimimaro? He was a fucking cool character. Hey, guys, remember that time that Naruto was abandoned as a child? You know, like every now and then I would just get this urge to, like, make a video just kind of ranting about Naruto for 25 minutes. I might do that with Fairy Tail this year. I may be like, hey, guys, remember fucking Fairy Tail? Remember that time that Urza, I might just end up doing that, you know? Terrible use of your time, by the way. Yeah, I know. But maybe not. I don't know. I might make some videos out of it. If I can make some videos out of it, it might not be a terrible waste of my time. Remember that swing that has more screen time than some characters? Oh, yeah. Okay, honestly, I don't know if it does. I think it's more of like maybe 1010, but 1010 was like never 1010 was never an important character. Yeah. See, I never saw Raven what was it? Not Raven Quest. That's not right. Raven Tail? No, that's the name of a guild in Fairy Tail actually. Rave Master. That was it. Yeah, Rave Master. I never saw Rave Master. Yeah. We don't want to see Fairy Tail in 2026. See, that's the thing. Naruto ended a while ago, and I made videos about that. It's like, hey, guys, remember Fairy Tail? Let's go back to 2012 for a moment here. Remember Fairy Tail? Yeah. See, the reason why I'm rereading it, though, is because, like, I like, really had problems with that series for the longest time, and I was going to make a whole video about it, like, seriously. Like, I had a whole series planned. I remember I commissioned thumbnail artwork of this thing that I was this big multiple series thing I was going to... This was back in, like, fucking 2015, maybe, something like that, back when the original Fairy Tail was still running. I was just like, oh, man, I'm going to do a whole fucking series just tearing this apart. And I never did. And I started to, like, think about Fairy Tail again. I'm like, okay, I want to reread this from the beginning, and I want to see if it was as bad as I remember it. And I'm reading it, and at the least, like, I don't remember the early parts of the story being bad, because I'm only up to, like, chapter 90 right now. I don't remember the early parts being bad. In fact, I remember the early parts being very good, which is where I'm still at right now. Like, I'm on, like, Tower of Heaven and stuff like that. I remember it getting just extraordinarily rote and repetitive at a certain point, and I'm trying to pin down when that point was. I'm trying to, like, zone in on the point of, like, when did this get just boring and repetitive? Like, when did that happen, right? So I'm trying to find that spot, and I don't know where it is, and I haven't gotten there yet. Yeah. Yes. But anyway, that's what series I'm reading right now. But this Kinto's magic doesn't look too bad. I like the art style. It's pretty good. All right, check it out. Main character looks kind of cool. All right. Yeah, I think it's when a lot of the arcs just become like auto repeat. I remember that. Yeah. Yeah, the friendship thing. Yeah, when we start like just getting into friendship zones, you know, of just like I need to win, so friendship, boom, I win now. Yeah. We want an Elbaf recap video. I already did one. I did one like a month ago. Hold on a minute. I'll actually put it in the chat. Give me a second. And then, yeah, we're about an hour and 30. I think I'm gonna probably call it here. I think we're good. We have a lot of Zoro's plans. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have like 8 Zoro plans plus the one he just came up with. So that's gonna be fun. Here you go. There's your Elbaf recap video just for you. That is always fun when someone comments on like one of my videos, just like, hey, Tekking, I think you need to make a video about like Whitebeard's Devil Fruit. I'm like, I already did it. Here you go. It's just like, that's the easiest. Like, hey, I think you should make a video about the Vegapunks. Already did it. Here you go. That's my job. Talk about everything involving One Piece. Yeah. 8 plans? Yes. Zoro tried to cut off his legs to escape wax. Then he tried to pose. Then he tried to slam the Rocket Man into the gate. Then he tried to throw the Sandai Katetsu up in the air and hope that his arm didn't get cut off. Then he came up with the plan for the X during Alabasta. And then he had a plan with Orlumbus to throw him like a bowling ball at Pika. Then he had a plan of swimming in a freezing lake during Drum Island. And then a plan to follow a cloud as if it was going to be a good navigational tool. So those are all of Zoro's plans. Oh, yeah, the Usopp sword. I didn't write that down either. The Usopp sword. I got to read. So 9 plans. Yeah. There you go. Is Harold's life been wasted with war? I mean, he didn't really declare war. That was the thing. It was ruined for other reasons. You'll criticize every series except One Piece. I've definitely criticized One Piece before. I've absolutely criticized One Piece before. I've criticized One Piece in this stream earlier. I was like, man, I really wish the Straw Hats would interact more like in those filler episodes. Remember that one time that one fairy tale character had childhood trauma? Yeah, that one character. I remember that one character that happened to. Yeah, that was just it. That was only the one character. But then again, once again, though, that's something that, like, yeah, a lot of characters have traumatic backstories. That's more of, like, manga in general. That's more of, like, fiction in general, right? Like, there's not that many characters that are main characters that have, like, 0 trauma in their backstories. There always got to be some kind of trauma, right? So that's the thing. Like, that does occur in Fairy Tail a lot, but that happens in One Piece too. All of the Straw Hats have traumatic-ass backstories. All of them. So I wouldn't say that's like a fault with Fairy Tail. I would just say I don't even know if I would say that's a fault in general with fiction. That's just like, hey, this is this character, yeah, his family was like killed by dragons when he was like 2. And now he wants to kill all the dragons. It's like, all right, there's his motivation. He's got motivation. There you go. Yeah. Yeah, if you have a good life, you have less reason to go on adventure. That's why Oda's literally said that the greatest villain to adventure is mothers. You know, if a mother is there and you have a nice, happy home, we need to do that. We need to make that happen. Fuck it. We just need to make that happen, right? We'll write a story where this guy has, like, the best upbringing. Not like he's like Richie Rich or anything like that, but he has like a loving mom and a loving dad, and everything's good, and they're very supportive of him, and they're not abusive or manipulative in the slightest. Everybody's happy. Everybody's good. He had a very healthy relationship with his mom and his dad and his brothers and his sisters and the whole family. And then one day he's like, you know what? I want to go on an adventure to go kill dragons. And it's like, okay, honey, we'll be safe. Stay hydrated. Okay. And then he goes on the adventure, and he has a crazy adventure. And then every time somebody asks him, hey, why are you going on this adventure? Why don't you live at home? It's like, I just wanted to see what's out there in the world. No real reason. So Ash Ketchum. There you go. Yeah. There's Ash. Oh, man. That's why Attack on Titan's first episode is so good. Aaron's mom dies brutally in the very first episode. That is his tragic backstory. Yeah, the least traumatized Straw Hat is the deadbeat dad who left his dying mom. Yeah. Is Usopp's tragic backstory, yeah. Ash doesn't have a dad. Yeah, but that doesn't mean he didn't have a good upbringing. Ash's dad might have, he might have just never been around. So maybe Ash doesn't really remember him all that much, but that doesn't mean he didn't have a good upbringing. Yeah. Wow. Spoilers, Tekking. Wow. Yeah, Usopp does have the least traumatic out of all of the Straw Hat backstories, easily. Are there any down-to-earth battle series you like in the vein of martial arts? Okay, so I'm trying to think of a series that's just martial arts that I like that doesn't involve any over-the-top anime magic power bullshit. Give me some names of series that fit in that vein, and I'll tell you if I've seen them or I've read them. Do you think Emu is Luffy's mom? Yeah, sure, why not? Emu, you are the mother! I have not read Ippo. Although I don't think I would dislike Ippo, but I haven't read it. Jinbei is not an anime. Jinbei is not an anime. Jinbei is a character. Baki is not regular martial arts. Baki, no. No, Yujiro punched the ground and stopped an earthquake once. That's not a fucking... That is... It's like, you want something that's down to earth? Baki the Grappler. No. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't really like sports manga, so that's the thing. I'm not a sports manga fan. Yeah. Apothecary Diaries. I like Apothecary Diaries. That's not a martial arts manga though. I do like some slice of life stories. I've watched all of Apothecary Diaries this year. I really enjoyed it. Yeah. Vagabond is one. So Vagabond, the one I'm currently reading now. Yeah. I just don't know if it gets into crazy over the top anime bullshit later. You know, Musashi pulls out a fucking lightsaber at some point. I don't know. Tenjo Tenge? Oh, that brings me back. Tenjo Tenge had magic. Yeah, that had magic in it. Okay, we're talking about a series that's specifically no magic. No magic bullshit. No magic bullshit. All right? But yeah, Vagabond would include Vinland Saga too. Vinland Saga also counts, although it's not a martial arts story, but they do fight normally. So yeah, Vagabond and Vagabond and Vinland Saga. Anything that starts with the letter V, I guess. Yeah. Vagabond is not a martial art manga. I think you could argue that like swordsmanship, like Kenjutsu, is a type. So yes. Kingdom, of course, yes. Gundam. Yeah, Gundam. Gundam's up there. Gundam, yeah. Sakamoto Days. Sakamoto Days has magic elements. He slims down. That's you can't do that in real life. Nah, that's not how that works. I have not seen Kenichi in a long time. I don't remember watching a lot of Kenichi. I feel like there was some anime bullshit in there. I feel like there was some anime magic bullshit in there. Big Mom has a weakness for the small children in her family. When her children were young, she loved them, so most of them had a good upbringing. Yeah, I mean, like, she definitely has that, but also she was also ridiculing pudding when she was young, too. So it seems like, I think the way that it was explained by Prometheus is that sometimes Big Mom enters, like, mother mode, and she actually cares about the little kids, you know, like when she was defending Tama, but I don't think that's always the case. All right, because she was ridiculing and making fun of Pudding, definitely, when she was a kid about her third. It's like, your third eye's creepy as hell, Pudding. Cover it up. Damn. You know, so that still happened. Yeah. But yeah, Vinland Saga and Kingdom and Vagabond, those are all good ones. Yeah, Shin can read minds in Sakamoto Days. That's anime bullshit. Yeah. What are your thoughts on the ending of Vinland Saga? Vinland Saga ended like 6 months ago, and I always said I was going to make a video about it. I'm still going to, I guess. I'm still, like, is it weird that I'm still processing the ending of Vinland Saga? I was thinking about it last night. I was actually thinking about the ending of Vinland Saga last night. Like, I don't know what to think about this. I feel like there should be so much more, but I don't know. Not a bad ending, but I just don't know how to feel about this still. I have not read Monster, no. I haven't made that video of Vinland Saga yet. No, I haven't, and it ended like 6 months ago. The Climber, a manga about a mountain climber. Down to earth. Well, I guess it wouldn't be down to earth because he's climbing a mountain, but that sounds like yeah, maybe I'll check it out. It has to be like a good combo because I tried reading Haikyuu. I didn't get into it. I just couldn't get into it. I just can't get into like the volleyball like thing because I don't care for volleyball. I don't play volleyball. I never liked to play volleyball when I was in gym class. So the manga about volleyball didn't really do it for me. Okay. But you know, like I'm just not into sports manga. Goblin Slayer is a nice down-to-earth manga about slaying goblins. You should check it out. Yeah. No, I've heard great things about that manga too. I think a lot of people really enjoyed that manga, but like I just couldn't get into it. Same thing with Slam Dunk, same thing with Prince of Tennis. Same thing with any kind of like overtly if there's a slice of life manga, and I've read lots of slice of lives that have like sports as a side thing. Like there was a slice of life manga I read once where tennis was like kind of going on in the background as sort of like a side thing, but like it wasn't the main focus. What's the funniest manga I've ever read? I laughed a lot at Mashal. I don't know if it's the funniest I've ever read, but I remember getting my chuckles off at Mashal quite a bit. Ice Shield 21, it's about American football. Yeah, I've heard of that. But his artwork is really good, so maybe I check that out just for the artwork alone. Yeah. Something like Blue Box, Grand Blue. A lot of blue. What's with all the blue manga that have to do with sports? But yeah. Hey, just not... I know Haikyuu is loved by many, and it's regarded as, like, maybe the best sports manga of all time, but it's just not for me. I'm sorry. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Once again, just kind of a recap chapter, so not as much to go into like we did last week. But hey, we got a chapter coming this week, chapter 1173, so no issue there. And we'll see. We'll just pick up right where we left off. No more like it would suck if it was like a chapter and then a break and then this recap chapter and then another break. But thankfully, we just get another one coming up here. Orb is peak. I'm getting a lot of people telling me Orb. All right, I'll check out Orb. But yeah. Anyway, what about my super chat? Well, I'm going through them now. Hold on, let me look at something really quick here. Okay. Let me just check what your character design looked like because it doesn't seem to show them all. I do not see yours. Let me refresh this. Ah, there you are. Okay, there you are. So Emu has upgraded form of Sugar's Devil Fruit ability. Emu probably has, like, I don't even know if what Emu has is classified as a Devil Fruit power. If it is a Devil Fruit power, it's the most busted Devil Fruit power. I just did a whole video about this, talking about whether or not his Emu's power is something that comes from somewhere else, like divine power or devil power, or is it a Devil Fruit? Because you got to understand, if it is a Devil Fruit, and I outline all of this in the video, I break it down way more direct, but in that video, I talk about how this is a Devil Fruit that makes contracts with others, grants them super strength, grants them immortality, can grant them the ability to never age, can make you turn into a monster, make other people turn into monsters, can turn people evil, can then make those people that step in front of other people turn evil. So, like, this would be, if it is just a Devil Fruit, is the most busted Devil Fruit that has, like, 12 different abilities added to it. So I don't think it is a normal Devil Fruit because unless you do some shit where it's like the original Devil Fruit, the first Devil Fruit, the God Fruit, not the Devil Fruit, the God Fruit. You know, like something like that maybe could work. But other than that, this is not just an ordinary Devil Fruit you could just eat and then like it reincarnates and whatever the fuck. It is not an ordinary Devil Fruit. Either that or it's not Devil Fruit at all. So that's the best way for me to describe that. But like I said, I made a whole video where I go into like great detail over that. Yeah. Usopp needs to just get his own time skip. I made a video about that too back in the day. A video where if Usopp stayed with Oimo and Kashi on Water 7 and then went to Elbaf and then trained there for 2 years by the time that the Straw Hats finally arrived. Yeah, that was fun. That was a fun video. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, I really wouldn't want it to be a Devil Fruit at this point, but we'll see. What's the chance of Loki being a Squirrel Zoan? Only reason I think the way is Ragnar looked at Loki when he transformed. I wouldn't want there to be two squirrels. One squirrel's fine, it's Ratatotsker, but like having two squirrels would be like, that would be kind of lame. I think people would be kind of disappointed in that. But hey, I mean, if Oda wants to do that, go ahead. But yeah, two squirrels fighting together. There's some comedy there, to be fair. Two squirrels. But I wouldn't want him to be a squirrel, no. But yeah. Oh, hey, CJ. How you doing? Might be Comic-Con, the one in San Diego or New York. I've always mean to go to the one in New York because I want to go back to New York City, and it's really not that far from here. So maybe. It's in October, I think, usually. I might be free in October. We'll see. I'm usually picking, like, one major trip a year to go, like, out of the country. So that'll be Japan this year. But in October, I might be more free to do something else. I went so many different places last year. I was actually counting. I went to Japan last year. I went to Los Angeles. I went to Vegas, and I went to Cleveland. And then I just drove around Pennsylvania a lot too that last year. I traveled more than I'd ever traveled in my life. I traveled last year. But hey, I'm young. I'm not young anymore. I'm almost 33. I'm like, I'm almost an old man. I need to get out there and enjoy my retirement. Oh my God. Got to see the world. Got to see the world before it all burns down into a pile of ash. All right. With that being said, I'm going to go eat lunch. Say bye to our little cicada friend, the Batwing cicada. Yeah. Thank you all for watching, and this week I'm going to be getting out the Zoro plan video. That'll probably be out tomorrow or Tuesday, probably tomorrow, and we'll see where it goes from there. Thanks for watching, everybody. This will be Tekking signing out. Have a good one.